Did you know that over 56% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings? And I was one of them. When I saved my first $1,000 in my bank account in 2013, I felt like there was a momentum shifting in my direction, like my fantasy football team when I only had 1% chance of winning and then it moved up to 2%. So let's go over the 10 money milestones that are worth celebrating. And let me know in the comment section down below what you achieved this year. Did you save $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, or $1,000,000? Or maybe you were able to max out your Roth IRA or 401k when you couldn't before. The very first milestone, the one you have to hit before you do anything else, is getting a rainy day fund. And I'm talking about opening a high yield savings account and not letting it rot in a big bank savings account that pays you 0.02% in interest. Your rainy day fund should typically be between $1,000 and $2,000, depending on your financial and household situation. Now, why that specific amount? It's not random. It's tied to your insurance deductibles. And listen, just doing this puts you ahead of the game. And I was looking at the data. A recent Bankrate survey found that 56% of US adults have less than $1,000 in savings, and 27% of Americans have no emergency savings at all. That's the highest it has been since 2010. Think about that for a second. More than half of this country could not handle a surprise car repair or a broken water heater without going into debt. That's not a good place to be. And it is exactly why this first milestone matters so much. So, you getting this $1,000 or $2,000 set aside, that is not a small step. That is a huge first wall of defense. So how do you decide? $1,000, $1,500, or $2,000? Don't just guess. Pull out your insurance paperwork. What's your car insurance deductible? Is it $1,000? What's your medical deductible? $500? What about your homeowner's insurance deductible? If your car insurance deductible is $1,000 and your medical is $1,000, then $2,000 is probably your number. If your homeowner's deductible is $2,000, aim for that. But I would not go over $2,000 for this specific fund. Why? Because this is not your full emergency fund. This is the stop the bleeding fund, and this is the buffer that keeps a flat tire or a broken dishwasher from becoming next month's credit card debt. Now, once that's in place, we move to the next milestone, which is becoming consumer debt free. If you have paid off your car, your student loans, a personal loan, credit cards, anything that is not your mortgage, this is a massive milestone. This is the one that really changes your life. It truly changed my life when I paid off over $110,000 in total consumer debt when I was still on active duty in the military back in 2015. And I know what a mountain this is. The numbers in this country are just staggering. You guys know this. We're looking at over $1.2 trillion in credit card debt. The average person who actually carries a credit card balance owes $7,321. And don't get me started on student loans. You've got about 43 million Americans carrying those, with an average balance of around $39,075. And cars, the average new car loan amount is $41,983, and the average used car loan amount is $26,795. For unsecured personal loans, 24.8 Americans owe a total of $257 billion, with an average borrower carrying $11,676 in debt. And these figures are insane. It feels like the whole system is built to keep you paying someone else for the rest of your life. And personally, I started my own debt free journey on New Year's Day in 2014. And I was not just dipping my toe in, I was drowning. And I had 5 maxed out credit cards totaling $47,000. I had 2 car loans for $41,000, a personal loan for almost $9,000, and I even had a TSP loan, which is a 401k loan, for almost $11,000. I was sitting on almost $110,000 in total debt. And at the time, I did not have any 401k employer match, so I just poured every single extra dollar into my debt every single time I got paid. And I picked up extra jobs and side hustles to increase my income. And I sold almost everything I own to become minimalistic. And it took me just under 2 years, and I became debt free in December 2015. I cannot even tell you how many things I sold, and I picked up so many side hustles, and I was working all the time, but I did it. And let me tell you, that feeling, the day I made the last payment, it was a better feeling than saving my first $100,000. It's not even close. You just breathe differently when you don't owe anybody, anything. Now, once the debt is gone, the next step is to build a real fortress. So for milestone number 3, that's 6 months of emergency savings. If you have 6 months of your essential expenses set aside in a high yield savings account, you need to pop a bottle of champagne. Seriously. Having this fully funded has allowed me to stay completely out of debt for the past 10 years. Anytime a big expense hits, a new water heater, a big car repair, it's just an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. And again, most people are just skating on thin ice here. The stats show only 25% of Americans, just 1 in 4 people, have enough savings to cover 6 months of expenses. Nearly half the country has 3 months or less. In this economy, 3 months is not enough to have any margin for error. So, how do you get your number? You want to combine how much you pay in rent or mortgage, your utilities, your cell phone bill, groceries, and I mean groceries, not your restaurant and bar budget, transportation, and insurance. Get that monthly number and then multiply by 6. If it costs you $4,000 a month just to exist, then you need $24,000 in your emergency fund. I almost always recommend 6 months, and 3 months might be okay if you're in a household with multiple very stable income streams. But I personally feel safer with 6 months, even with both my wife and me working full time. My next milestone was to max out my Roth IRA. And now we've come to the fun part. The debt is gone, the emergency fund is full. It's time we build wealth. It was not easy to do at first, especially when I did not know much about investing, but I got it done in 2016. The maximum contribution limit back in 2016 was $5,500 for the year, and this year is $7,000. That number sounded huge to me, so I just broke it down. I got paid twice a month, so 24 paychecks a year. And I just divided $5,500 by 24. That came out to about $230. So I set up an automatic transfer. Every single time I got paid, $230 went straight into my Roth IRA. And I automated it and I forgot about it. And I still do it. And the Roth IRA contribution limit, again, for 2025 is $7,000 or $8,000 if you're over the age of 50. 9 years later, I have over 6 figures in that Roth IRA, and it's all growing 100% tax free. And man, I really, really wish I could go back in time and contribute more. The power of that tax free growth is something you just have to see to believe. And if you have never done this before, it feels intimidating, but I just do what I did. Look up the contribution limit for this year and divide it by how many paychecks you get, and then automate it. Even if you cannot max it out, just start. Start with $100 a check. Start with $50. The habit is more important than the amount when you're just starting. When you max out your Roth IRA this year, go celebrate because this is a big milestone. Now, the next milestone, and this is probably my favorite secret weapon in all of finance, is maxing out your HSA or health savings account. I don't know if you knew this, but only 9% of Americans actually use an HSA as a separate retirement account. If you have a high deductible health plan, you must be using this. This account is the triple tax advantage beast, and the money goes in tax free, which lowers your taxable income right now. It grows completely tax free, just like a Roth IRA, and it all comes out completely tax free as long as you use it for qualified medical expenses. And let's be real, especially for you guys in your 50s and 60s, you know medical expenses are coming. That's not an if, it's a when. This account is the single best way to prepare for it. And the best part, after you turn 65, it basically just turns into a traditional IRA, and you can pull money out for anything. You will just pay regular income tax on it, just like a 401k. As for my sixth milestone, is investing at least 25% of my gross income towards my retirement. I was fortunate to make a decent income from 2017 to 2021 before I started this business venture. And I did not just max out my 401k as an employee, I was also maxing out the after-tax 401k contributions in 2017, 18, and 2019. And I eventually stopped doing that in 2020 because I felt like I had hit my goal and I slowed it down to just 25% of my gross income, split between my 401k, my Roth IRA, and that HSA. So how do you calculate that 25%? Let's use a simple example. Let's say you're a single person under 50 and you make $100,000 a year. You max out your HSA at $4,300 in 2025 and your Roth IRA at $7,000. That's $11,300 right there, which is 11.3% of your income. Now, let's say your company gives you a 5% 401k match, which is $5,000, and you contribute 9% yourself, which is another $9,000 a year. That's $14,000 going into your 401k. So when you add that $14,000 to your $11,300 from your HSA and Roth IRA, you've got $25,300, which is 25% of your $100,000 income. See, it's not as impossible as it sounds when you break it down. From there, the next milestone was to max out the entire 401k. This was impossible to do when I made $50,000 a year way back in 2014. And I would never tell people to do that if they make less than $100,000 a year. It was not until I left active duty in the military and started working in the private sector that this became possible. And when I maxed out my 401k in 2017, putting it up to the IRS limit was a huge milestone for me. And man, what a year to do it. The S&P 500 finished 2017 with a 19% return. That's the magic of just getting the money in the market. Now, for my next milestone, this is the one everyone talks about, becoming a net worth millionaire. And it is a big milestone no matter how you look at it. And calculating it is simple. It's just assets minus liabilities. You list everything you own, your bank accounts, your investments, your HSA, your home value, and your car value. Then you list everything you owe, your mortgage, any car loans, student loans, and credit card debt. Subtract the owe from the own, and that's your net worth. But here's a big controversy here. People get really bent out of shape about including home equity. They say, you can't eat your house. That's not real money. You can't eat your house for retirement, right? And they have a point. And for the vast majority of people, their home equity is the biggest part of their net worth. But then you cannot pay your electric bill with your home equity. So being a net worth millionaire is a milestone absolutely worth celebrating, but it's not the end goal. It's not financial independence. And that brings us to the next milestone, which is becoming an investment millionaire. Having at least 7 figures in your investments is a bigger milestone than becoming a net worth millionaire. This is just counting your investments, your 401k, your Roth IRA, your HSA, your taxable brokerage accounts. We're not counting your house and we're not counting your car. This is the money that works for you. This is the money that generates more money. This is what buys your freedom. In my private community, we have a tradition. We celebrate and give out trophies when our members achieve their first $100,000 in their investments. Why? Because that first $100,000 is without a doubt the hardest. After that, compounding starts to take over and do the heavy lifting for you. You can join my private community by visiting firecharter.com/community. And for the final milestone on my list, the one I'm still working on is being mortgage debt free. And I want to be completely mortgage debt free by the time I'm completely retired from this business. Now, I know the debate. Trust me, I get it. Why would you pay off a 3% mortgage when you can earn 10% in the market, right? And I get the math, but this decision for me is not about math. It's about peace. It's about sleeping at night, knowing that no matter what happens in the world, no matter what the market does, my family and I own our home, free and clear, and that's a different kind of wealth. And what happens if you pay an extra principal payment each year or pay every 2 weeks instead of every month? Let's say you have a $300,000 mortgage at 6% interest for 30 years. Your monthly P&I or principal and interest payments will be about $1,800. If you make one extra payment per year towards the principal, you will pay off your mortgage in about 25 years instead of 30, and you'll save over $60,000 in interest. If you pay biweekly, that's half your monthly payment every 2 weeks. You will make an extra payment per year without even feeling it because there are 52 weeks in a year, and that's 26 half payments, which equals 13 full payments instead of 12. It's a simple trick that can shave years off your mortgage. So what can you do with all this? And one way to keep track of your assets and liabilities is by filling out your net worth tracker. And you don't need to do it every single month. You will drive yourself crazy. You should do it at a minimum of once per year, like your annual checkup. You can get a free net worth calculator by visiting firecharter.com/resources. You want to first list all of your liabilities. What's the balance of your mortgage? And do you owe any debt on investment properties? Do you carry a credit card balance every single month? Do you have any installment loans like personal loans, auto loans, or student loans? Write it all down. And then for assets, write down how much you have in your bank accounts, your checking, savings, and money market accounts. And do you have any CDs or savings bonds? Write down the balance of your HSA, your 529 college savings plan, and any other taxable investment accounts. How much do you have in your 401k or Roth IRA? You also want to write down the value of your vehicles, which you can get the best estimate at Kelley Blue Book. You should also put the estimated value of your real estate. Now, if you sold every single asset you own today and paid off every single debt, How much would you be worth? If you're interested in joining and getting that level of organization, you can visit firestation.com/consultation to schedule a consultation with me. And no matter where you are on your financial journey, whether you're at milestone 1 or milestone 9, remember the reason you want to improve your finances. You need to be intentional with your savings and your spending. If you are in your 20s watching this, it's time to build good financial habits and discipline now while you have the best weapon on your side, and that's time. And if you're in your 30s and 40s watching this, pay special attention to your spending. Don't let lifestyle inflation, like getting a raise and just spending it all, creep into your savings rate. And ask yourself, are you saving 25% of your gross income towards your retirement? And for you in your 50s and 60s watching this, you are on the last stretch of your financial journey before your retirement age. Your timeline is starting to get smaller every single year it goes by. If you're behind on your retirement savings, it's time to get focused. It's time for you to pay off your debt, and it's time for you to max out your retirement contributions. You don't have 30 years for compound interest to do its magic. You've got 10, maybe 15 years if you're lucky. That means every single dollar you save now has to work harder. Cut the lifestyle inflation, cut the consumer debt, and get serious about building that retirement nest egg. And this has been another piece of a video, and we got a lot out of it.